Smart people struggle when it comes to personal finances, and they have struggled consistently when it comes to their money. And a lot of times it's not necessarily your fault, but it can cost you money, and it can do so for years. So I'm gonna give you 3 areas for you to focus on and give you a solid solution on how you can remedy these things. But first, why does this happen? Because on paper you would think, I've been good at school, I know how to read, write, all of those things. Why is money the thing that consistently eludes me if you are in that category? Here's the thing, if you are struggling, it is usually because there is a different skill set when it comes to all the stuff you needed for school and the things that you need to be good at personal finances. Now, there are some people saying, well, you should teach it in school, you should do this and this and this, and I don't disagree with teaching personal finances in school. Yeah, we should, but even that isn't always sufficient, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But the main thing is this: the skills you need as a brain surgeon does not help you with taxes. They just don't. It's a completely different skill set. And then even within finances itself, accounting is different than investing. Those are two different things. 2 completely different skills. I do not do taxes. Oh, I can invest. I can do some planning for you. Do not give me your tax return and expect me to do your taxes. Do not. That's a completely different skill set, bruh. And it's okay. You are not expected to master each one of those areas. In personal finance, you got insurance, you got estate planning, you got taxes, investing, all of those areas, and you are expected to do all those things. There's a reason as to why you may feel behind, and that's why I'm here to help you create confidence, clarity, and momentum, and can help you to do all those things. Whether A, you hit that subscribe button, this is your opportunity to do so, or you book a one-on-one call at buildingbread.com/callkev. But here's the thing, when it comes to personal finance, you kind of thinking of it like the Avatar, where there are 4 or 5 different art forms that you need to master. You got your inflows and outflows, right? Your budgeting, insurance, taxes, investing, and then like retirement planning, right? I could probably add some more estate planning if you want to add a 6th. So there are different things you have to master. All of those things are different sections that you would have to know, which again are very difficult, and not every personal finance curriculum that you learn in school, if you have that, is going to apply and changes by the time you graduate high school to the time that you might need it in your 20s or 30s or even 40s. So that is why not everybody who is deemed as smart or has a degree actually gets it, and why things can change. So what exactly can you do? So that's the first part of it. The other piece of it is, yes, we understand that now there are different areas, and the skill set that you might have might not translate exactly to the skill set that you may need. The other part of it is these things consistently change, and I have gotten blowback over and over again, especially when I talk about Dave Ramsey or whoever else it is. But whether you like me or not, the facts are still the facts. The other part of why it can be difficult, especially for people who are smart, and why they may struggle, is not only are the skill sets different from what you may be very good at to what is happening, is the bar does consistently change, and your emotions may change with it. For example, what was good in the stock market last year in 2025, there were tech stocks. What is happening currently in the first quarter of 2026, it is not tech stocks. As you can see right now on the screen, what are the best performing stocks so far in the first quarter? It ain't tech stocks. Tech stocks are down there at the bottom. It is utility stocks and energy stocks. And we know why energy stocks are doing well. However, before all the stuff that was happening in Iran, who has been talking about companies like NRG? Go back and watch the videos. I have been talking about NRG for years, plural. Okay, I've also brought up utility stocks months and months before what is going on currently. That is one, the value of talking to a financial planner, even if that call is free, like the ones that I offer at buildingbread.com/callkev. But the thing is, what we know sometimes, even if it's like, hey, I understand a little bit about investing, I understand a little bit about taxes, tax laws do change. And when they do change, you as an expert in your field, or you as someone who knows what you know, right? You are good at what you do, you are smart in your field, you are intelligent. What you knew then, a year ago, might be different than what is happening right now. Whereas someone who does that all day, they're up on it every single day, because that is my sphere of knowledge, right? I'm not a heart surgeon, I don't pretend to be, right? I'm not a lawyer. I say that all the time. I don't pretend to be. I go to the person who does that all the time. So sometimes we have people who are very smart but not great at personal finances because what they know was rooted in 1990. What they know is rooted in 1980, and that has been my criticism of someone like a Dave Ramsey. I know that what he did worked quite well in the 80s and 90s for a very specific reason. I've done the history, I've done the research as to why. And another reason as to why is because interest rates were a lot higher in that point in time, and it made sense as to why he was as aggressive as he was. Today, can it work for some people? Absolutely it can, but in a world where things are completely different, you know, there are other ways to pay off your debt and still invest and do some other things that don't make sense in this economy. And that's why my criticisms are the way they are, because house prices are 9 times higher than what they were back then, and your income has only gone up by 2.5x. That's why. And the last piece of it is, why are smart people not always great at finance? It's because of emotions. Sometimes when we lose money, we act a bit differently. When we see the stock market fall, we don't always buy more like we say we do. We say buy low, sell high, market goes low. We don't be buying, right? That is a part of it. But also, if you have kids, if you have loved ones, you start to change your priorities in ways that you probably wouldn't on paper. You say, look, I know I need to prioritize myself, put my mask on first, but then you're like, hey, actually, I don't want to do that. I want to take care and put everything for my kids, and I don't really care about myself and put myself on the line, and whatever happens, happens to my retirement, as long as they are fine. Which sounds noble. It does, it really does. But in reality, what happens is you now become a drain on the kids' finances down the line because you didn't take care of yourself. But that is an emotional thing that as a parent, you truly want to do. I get it. I got 2 kids myself. But that is what happens. The emotions change what is going on. You are emotionally pulled to say, look, I got a new kid. I need to get a better, safer car. I need to move to a more expensive neighborhood. And that part of it drains more out of your money and flattens out that budget more than what you would have when you can say, look, I can stick with the paid off car. I don't need to spend more money on the best school district because I don't need to. I can tutor them at home. I can make sure I read more at home. You want to do the absolute best for your kid because what parent doesn't want to do those things? But the emotional part of it says that you don't want to cut any single corner ever, because what parent doesn't want to do that? Those are the things. And it's those little things that say, look, you gotta start pulling out that credit card just a little bit more. And if one thing happens wrong, you end up in a credit card debt. You end up in that cycle. And that is how those things happen. So how do you get out of those cycles? How do you prevent those cycles to begin with? I'll start off with the easiest one, and then we'll kind of work backwards from there. The first one is you can hire a professional. Okay, so yes, I am a financial planner. Yes, I can create clarity, confidence, and momentum in this here economy. Someone who understands what is going on right now. buildingready.com/callkev. That call is totally free. I will sit down with you and ask you questions around what is going on. How do you feel? What do we need to talk about, and what is your goal? So that is totally free. We can sit down and do that. Aside from hiring a professional, what can you do on your own? The first thing is automate. What are the things that you can automate that you don't have to worry about, that you don't have to put that burden on yourself? That is extremely important. Why rely on yourself if you ain't got to? You got other stuff that you need to focus on. So investing, budgeting. I'm someone, when it comes especially around the budgeting, we did a whole almost say probably 30, almost 45-minute interview on the high five banking method. Your money disperses between your bank accounts and you don't have to have a bunch of maintenance. So check out that interview. That is one of my favorites budgeting hacks. Some people don't like the word budget, but in any case, it's all automated. The more automated I can be, the easier things are for me. That keeps me on task, both with my investments, both with my debt pay down, and with my spending. That's 3 of the 6 areas I mentioned earlier. That's half of the game. That is half of the game right there. The other part is to break things down and simplify. It is true that personal finance can get, yes, very personal, but also very, very, very complex if you let it. I mean, super crazy granular. However, there are only 3 buckets that truly matter. And when I do in-person speaking sessions, these are the 3 buckets that I tell people about. Save, invest, protect. That's it. That is all you need. Those are the 3 basic buckets that you need. It's probably a better way to put that. Save, invest, protect. If you are doing those, you're probably doing 90-95% of what you truly need. Savings, in terms of your emergency savings. Okay, we know 3 to 6 months has been the typical, but I've been arguing getting it closer to 12, right? So are you saving, right? Are you investing? That's through your 401k, IRA, all that type of stuff. We have plenty of videos on this here channel about that. So save, invest, and then protect. What are you doing in terms of your beneficiaries? Are you making sure that your assets go to who they're supposed to go to? A lot of that stuff, not all, but a lot of that stuff can be done for free. Okay, making sure that you have PODs, payable on death, for all of your bank accounts. You can do life insurance. That's a whole different conversation. Life insurance can be done very inexpensively, or you and I can sit down and review those things. BillBread.com/callcap. Anyway, you do those 3 things, you're kind of set. I've sat down with this thing, I call it the SIP system. I've done it in my last book. I still, to this day, have not found any financial thing that has not fallen in those 3 buckets. Let me know in the comments if I missed one. But that is the game. Just simplify it, put it in one of those 3 buckets, save, invest, protect, and you're pretty much good. You got 90-95% of the game covered. So sit back, simplify those things, and then after you have done that, you can break down each of those areas that I mentioned earlier, whether it's, insurance, budgeting, which we have a whole video on that, investing, so on and so forth. Take, whether it is an entire quarter or take a year, and learn each of those one by one by one. You don't have to rush through it all. Now, I would argue the easiest way to do that, if you want to do that, again, you can hire someone and pass that off and have them do it. But by learning it, you can have a better, more informed conversation and ask better questions. So you can say, hey, look, you're asking me to invest in X, Y, and Z, but what about this over here? And y'all could have, again, good conversations about what is going on in your portfolio. Why are we doing these things? And y'all can truly hash it out and understand why your financial planner is doing something. They should explain those things anyway, but again, good conversations about what is going on is always extremely important. In addition to doing it one by one, whether it's quarterly, annually, or whatever, just take an entire year and learn investing, an entire year, and try out different budgeting tactics, it's also subscribing to the channel, because we talk about all of these things, and you get these videos in your feed 3 days a week, plus the shorts and all those type of things. I'm just throwing it out there as a free resource. That's 2 free resources I've thrown at you. All right. But in either case, those are some things that can help you, because here's the thing: if you've gotten to this point in the video, I can guarantee you are extremely smart, that you have gotten this far. However, there are some gaps where it's like, hey, I should be a bit further than where I am. There are some missing pieces. And I'm telling you, those little changes, whether it is taking some time just to focus on one aspect of your finances instead of trying to master them all, can be a difference maker. So make a list of all of those things and go one by one. Whether, again, a quarter I think makes sense, or just an entire year, I'm focusing only on this, can absolutely make the difference. So go back and replay it if you got to, but that is the thing, because when you are brilliant, when you are smart, you are used to mastering and conquering a lot of different things, but they're usually in a certain field. Finance, especially in real life, it's a bit tricky because it moves so fast, and unless you're in it every day, like I have to be, fortunately, unfortunately, however you want to see it, it can move, but you have other things that you also have to focus on. So it's hard to do both, and I totally understand that, but it's not all your fault. So don't internalize it and make it feel like it's something you are necessarily doing wrong. So use these techniques. You can do this. You're gonna be all right. If you want to learn more about personal finance and everything in between, you want to check out these videos right here.